Hello, everybody, and welcome to our session. I'm just still letting people in, but just to say that we're going to start from lying. But of course, if you don't want to lie and you want to sit down, that's fine too. So you choose how you'd like to be, maybe lying on the floor with your feet elevated or your knees bent, or you can lie on your front, or you can indeed sit. So just decide what is a comfortable position for you. And also just to say a couple of things, well, I always say at the beginning of our sessions, which is you don't need to keep looking at the screen, because I'm very aware that looking at screens is very tiring. So if you want to have your eyes closed and just listen to my voice, you're probably going to find that more relaxing. And also, really important, this is a message I'm always trying to get across, is that do what feels right for you. I am just here to guide you. So it's all about your own inner voice and your own agency. So if something doesn't feel right, a movement maybe feels too strong, not that I do anything that's strong, but if you think, no, I'd really rather just rest out, then you pay attention to that. Do not feel you need to keep up with me or with anybody else in our group. And before I start, you would see well, maybe you're lying down, but I'll just tell you I'm joined by Nellie today. I'm delighted she's on my mat being a rest activist. So the theme of, sorry, I'll just check everybody is muted. 1 second, still letting people in. So the theme of our session today is dealing with a setback. It was actually another yoga teaching friend, Liz Brown. I don't think she's here today, but she might watch the recording. And she suggested this. And I thought this is quite a good one, and one that I hopefully can give you some ideas about. So when I talk about a setback, when I was designing the class, obviously, first of all, I was thinking about symptoms, fatigue, illness, but then I thought it doesn't just have to be about that. It might be that you've got some difficulty going on in your life, maybe grief, something that's causing anger or resentment, or something that you're finding challenging. So everything I say, although I might talk about symptoms, it's really about how we deal with challenges in life. So just start by making a connection with your physical body and just check in how you are feeling. And if you're lying down, I'm going to suggest that you lie in Shavasana, but with the knees bent. So that's on your back. You might like to just lift your head to look at your belly button to check that everything is straight and aligned. And then have your arms a comfortable distance away from the body with your palms turned up. Or if it's more comfortable, you can turn them down. You can even rest them on the belly. And then I always suggest we start with the knees bent, because that helps the back to relax before we straighten the legs. But if you find that tiring in any way, just bring the knees together. And then just settle in. Observe how you are feeling now. And I just want to start by sharing a short story, which is that I had COVID a couple of months back, and it's taken me quite a while to get over it. And I thought I had fully recovered. And then I went for quite a long walk this weekend, and I had a setback. Something most of us know about, something called PEM, or post-exertion malaise. It often seems to be exercise that might trigger us into having a setback. So it became quite important to me to apply the tools that I'm going to share with you. So the first thing is to think about your mind. So just take a moment or two to observe your thinking. Because the mind is very apt to tell us stories, and the mind, or the ego even, tries to distract us from the present moment. Now, one of my first yoga teachers was somebody called Bill Feeney. Some of you might have come across him. And he used to say we need some ego to survive. Imagine the ego is like a big parrot on your shoulder, and we want to shrink it down to a sparrow. But the ego is always trying to distract us, to tell us scary stories about the future or the past. It's trying to take us away from the present moment. So I invite you now just to watch your mind and see how present you are able to be. And it might be that you can't be present, and that's fine. The aim of our yoga is to become more present as we go through the session. But just observe how you are without judgment. So if the mind is very spiky or fast or slow and turgid, don't make any judgment around that. Just observe, and particularly observe if it's telling you stories. Because the truth is, we don't have to believe our mind. Our thoughts are always changing. So what it's telling us is usually not true unless it's in the present moment. And the way to become more present is just to feel into our physical body. So become aware of the weight of your head on your support. Observe if the jaw is tense or if you can maybe soften it. Soften around the eyes. Allow the face to soften. And then just feel on every exhalation that your back is making more connection with your support. So it's almost as if you were lying on something soft, like soft, warm sand. And as you exhale, your body's making a soft indentation into the sand to make that shape of your body and to relax. Just take a moment or two to observe your nervous system. And if you're not sure what this means, that's fine. I'll try and explain. Are you feeling quite anxious or activated? Are you feeling in the flow? Or are you feeling quite disconnected? And can we tolerate how our nervous system is? So even if we're feeling anxious, can we allow that to be? So our very first step in dealing with a setback, and you might not be having a setback now, but this might help you in the future, is to try to be with any symptom, even if it's uncomfortable. So even if there's pain or fatigue, just see if you can allow that to be without resisting it. Maybe bringing some compassion to it. And if you want, if you've got a difficult symptom and you know where it is physically in the body, you might like to just take a hand there, as if you're soothing a small child. And you're not pushing it away, you're welcoming it. So for example, if it's anxiety, it might be in your tummy. You might want to take your hand there just to feel that sense of softening and soothing and allowing. And remember that as we are accepting how we are, we're not giving in, we're just allowing. But what we resist persists. So what we're trying to do is to welcome in all the dark and difficult stuff as well as the good stuff. And this starts with how we feel in the body. Now, if we have a setback, very often we have fear, and there's a Sanskrit word for that, abhinivesha. And then we get into a loop where maybe we're breathing faster, and then we become afraid of our body and our symptoms. And then that creates more fatigue, more anxiety. So the very first place to start is by just observing our breath and seeing if we can slow the breath down. So it can be helpful to take one hand to the heart, the other to the belly, and to breathe in more to the hand that's in the belly. And if you can, to breathe in through the nose. So we're going to do a couple of breathing practices now to help us. So I'd like you to inhale twice through the nose and then sigh the breath out. So it's sniff, sniff, sigh. So just try that 3 or 4 times in your own breathing rhythm. Sniff, sniff, sigh. And then we're going to hum the breath out for the next 5 breaths. So breathe in softly, inhale softly through the nose, inhale is free, and then hum the breath out. And then thinking of the breath as your friend, just continue by watching the out breath, feeling your body letting go more on every exhalation. Now, the role of the mind when we have a setback is really important. So I'm just going to read something out from my previous book, because this is all to do with yoga and having a quiet mind. 2 extremes of mind are described in the Yoga Sutras. The first is Nirodha, which means a peaceful, quiet state of being. In the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali explains that if the mind is calm, there are no obstacles in our lives. He means that if the mind is peaceful and we are able to accept everything as it happens, we're not disturbed when life is difficult. The second state of being is extreme agitation, and this is known as Vutana, and it comes from fear and its manifestations. And in this state of mind, everything in life is perceived as being difficult. So the key to dealing with a setback is to do our best to become present and to quieten the mind. And then the book goes on to cultivate inner peace. We can start with the understanding that our mental realm isn't real. Our thoughts are not really telling us the truth. What is going on in the mind is a virtual reality, unless something is happening right now in this present moment. It's just thinking, imagination, memory, and feelings, all which come and go. Even energy comes and goes. And just take some time now to reflect on this. How true are my thoughts? Do my thoughts define me? Can you remember what you were thinking about yesterday? And most importantly, do my symptoms define me? Can you see that you are something else beyond your symptoms, beyond your challenges and difficulties? And again, just bring a sense of self-compassion to how you are in this moment. Staying as present as you can, watching your thoughts. And resting, because the other tool for dealing with a setback is to allow ourselves to rest. So we're going to do a little bit of movement now with some chanting, and this is optional. So if you don't have any back problems and you want to straighten your legs, please do so, or you can remain with the knees bent. And we're going to take our arms and point our fingers up towards the ceiling, palms facing each other and the arms are parallel. If you're not sure, you can just take a peek at the screen. And if you do so, you'll see I can't actually be on my mat because Mary is there. So what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in and open the arms wide like a cross, have the arms just below shoulder level, and then we're going to chant them back. And we're going to chant Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Breathing in, open the arms wide like a cross, bringing them back. Om Shanti. And do that 2 or 3 more times in your own breathing rhythm, listening in and honoring your energy levels. Breathing in to open. Om Shanti. Resting out when you need to. And then bring the knees into the chest and just rock out to side to side. And then we're going to just working with the breath, breathing in, one hand to each knee, let the knees float away from you as the elbows straighten. Breathing out, bringing the knees back into the belly. So this is known as Apanasana. Breathing in, let the knees float away from you. Breathing out, bring the knees back in. Just take a few movements like this. And then this morning, when you're ready, we're going to do a really beautiful movement. It's a rocking twist. So when you're ready, I'd like you to lie on your left side. I'm going to say the left because it's easier if we all are on the same side together. If you need to look at the screen, you can see how I'm lying. And your arms are out, one palm on top of the other at shoulder level, and the knees are bent. And I've got my head on a pillow. So if you just need to check the screen, do. But some of you will know this movement because I have done it in the past quite a lot. So just come into your body again. Stay as present as you can. And then become aware of the top palm. So this is the right arm, top palm. And when you're ready, we're going to very slowly draw that palm along the inner left arm. Slowly, slowly towards the left armpit. Look up if you're not sure. And then I'm going to stroke along my chest as I come onto my back. My knees are still bent to the left, but I'm opening that right arm out to the side. So I'm in a half spinal twist. And just take some resting breaths here. Keep yourself focused on your body. And then when you're ready, bend that right elbow to bring your hand back to your chest. Stroke along the chest towards the left armpit. And then slowly, slowly stroke down that inner left arm to bring the palms back together. So you're back lying on your side. And then we're going to try that again. If you would like, if you have the energy. So slowly, slowly stroking that right palm, fingertips along the inner left arm, stroking up towards the armpits, along the chest, and then opening that right arm out to the side. So you've got the upper body nice and open. And the lower body, you've got the knees bent and twisted towards the left. Have some resting breaths here. And then when you're ready in your own time, bend that right elbow, bring the palm to the chest, stroke softly along the chest to come to the left armpit, down the left armpit, and bring the palms together. And then this time, just take that right palm slightly further in front of the left palm and roll onto your forehead and rest here. And feel that you are nourishing yourself. And then breathing in, come back, bring the palms together, bring the head to one side. And then we're going to cradle the side of our head in our left hand. And we're going to bring the right hand in front of our belly. So again, if you're not sure, just look up, but I've got my right hand in front of the belly and the side of my head is cradled in my left hand. And from this position, we're going to push on the hand and we're going to rock ourselves. So rocking is about the most soothing thing we can do for our nervous system. So just enjoy some rocking moments. And also you might like to explore. So you can rock faster, you can rock slowly, or you can just rest. So you just do what feels right for you in this moment. So explore how you feel and take the appropriate action, whether that's rest or rocking. And then start to slow the rocking down. And then when you're ready, come and lie on your back. You can lie in Shavasana, the relaxation posture, arms apart, legs apart, or knees bent. And just take some resting breaths and just explore how you are feeling. Let the mind settle in the back. Explore how the back is. Feel the knuckles on your support, the back of the heels, the weight of the head. Just allowing everything to be as it is. And then see if you can explore the spaces between the thoughts. The spaces between the thoughts. And then when you're ready, and if you would like, we're going to come to the other side now. So come to lie on your left side this time, your right side this time. Arms out in front of you, palms together and knees bent. So we're lying on our right side. When you are ready, and if you would like, become aware of the left hand and start to stroke that left palm and fingers on the inner right arm towards the right armpit. Slowly, slowly along the chest, and then opening that left arm out to the side. So the knees are twisted to the right and the back. You're lying on your back. And just take some resting breaths here. Staying with your body and your experience if you can. And then when you're ready, bend that left elbow, bring the palm to the chest, stroke softly along the chest to the right armpit, and slowly, slowly down the inner right arm. And then just rest with the palms together. And then if you would like, take yourself through that movement again, or if you prefer, you can just rest on your right side. So always listening into the body, listening into what feels most nourishing for you. And then just bringing the right, get my left and right, the left palm slightly in front of the right palm and rolling onto your forehead into this very nurturing posture. And then bring the palms back together. And then cradle the right side of the head in your right palm. And take the left palm in front of the belly. And pushing on that left palm, just take some nice rocking movements, just to rock and soothe the whole system. And again, as you did on the other side, you can experiment. Rocking fast, slow, or just resting. So listen to what you need. Tune in to what you need. We have so many voices telling us what to do and what we should think. Just allow yourself to feel what you need. And then when you're ready, come back to lying into Shavasana on your back, or however it's comfortable for you to rest. Arms away from the body, palms turned up, feet apart, or maybe you prefer to have the arms or the legs in a different position. And become aware of the breath again. And just allow yourself to focus on the pause and the silence after the exhalation. So just enjoy that quiet space after the natural exhalation. Keeping the mind quiet, just watching any thoughts without becoming involved. And see if you can bring to mind something that nourishes you. So this might be a memory of a place or somewhere in nature or a pet or a loved one. Just see if the mind wanders, bring it back to this nourishing focus. And then when you're ready, just roll to one side. And if you would like, remember, everything's an invitation. Come up into a cat posture. If you find it easier to do this from a chair, that's fine too. And if you need padding or anything under your knees, please do so. But for a cat posture, you have your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips, fingers are spread, and you just take your weight slightly over your hips so you've not got too much pressure on your wrists. We're just going to do some very gentle movements just to keep the back a little bit flexible, working with the breath if we can. So we're going to breathe in and just lift the heart. Breathe out and arch the spine, navel to spine, drop the head. Just a few gentle movements like this with the breath. Breathing in to lift the heart. Breathing out, navel to spine. And then if it's okay for you, come to resting on your front. So when you rest on your front, you might like to place a pillow or a towel under your forehead. You can have your arms to one side, to the sides of the body with the palms turned up, or you can make a pillow with the back of the hands. So you just choose what feels most comfortable for you. And just take some resting breaths. And because you've transitioned from your back to your front, just explore how the body feels in this position. And then bring your awareness to your breath. And as you breathe in gently, feel that you're breathing into your back. Because your lungs and your ribs go all the way around your back. So just have that sense of breathing in softly into your back. And now bring your awareness to your belly. And as you breathe in, just feel that very slight pressure of the belly against your support. As you breathe out, feel it relax. So just watch the belly and the breath like that for a few breaths in your own breathing rhythm. And then bend the knees. And we're just going to sway the legs from side to side. Got this nice theme of rocking in our session today. Because rocking is very soothing, helps to quieten the mind. And then relax the legs down. And then when you're ready, get ready for our relaxation. So think about how you would like to lie. Do you want to lie on the floor, on your back? Do you want to lie on a sofa? Do you want to lie on a bed? Do you prefer to sit? Even be on your side? Do you need cushions, eye masks, socks, blankets? I'm just going to give you a moment or two as you transition. I'm going to turn my camera off in a minute and then I'll turn it back on at the end of the session. I'm actually going to do it's a halfway between a meditation and a relaxation, and it's from my old book, Yoga Therapy. Well, it's not that old, Yoga Therapy for Stress, Burnout and Chronic Fatigue Syndrome. So because it is a meditation, if you prefer to sit, you are welcome, but it's also quite nice to do this as a lying meditation. So just make any final adjustments you need to make yourself comfortable. And just start by making an intention to meditate and to stay present with the mind quiet. And one of the tools I didn't yet mention about dealing with a setback is the ability to ask for help. So if you have an idea of a higher self or divine being or source or universe, you might like to ask for help and support during this meditation, or at any time indeed. I think we forget that we can ask for help. We just allow ourselves to be vulnerable when we ask for help. We're not pushing through with this kind of stiff upper lip idea. And it's okay to be vulnerable because then we are being real. So spend a moment or two, again, just becoming aware of the body. And feel that you are coming home into the body. And become aware of your feet, the texture of your feet, what they are touching, any clothing. Just be aware of the feet. And now we're going to imagine the feet as being light-filled. So imagine you're hollowing out the feet and filling them with light. And now move up the legs very slowly, filling them with light. So imagine that you're filling your lower legs, your knees, and your upper legs with light. You might like to visualize breathing this light further and further up the legs on the inhalation. So your feet and your feet and your legs are filled with light. And as you breathe in, visualize this light coming up through the hips, pelvis, the lower back, up into the abdomen and around the middle of the back. And just take your time. slowly, slowly move up your torso and come into the heart area. Just continue to visualize everything slowly becoming filled with light as you move, or visualizing the movement. Continue to visualize everything slowly becoming filled with light, moving to the shoulders and then down, hollowing out the arms, down to the hands, and then back to the shoulders. Go down to the back. Feel the whole body, legs and arms filled with light. Finally, feel the face and the back of the head filled with light. Now, leave the body and start to watch the breath and take your attention just to your exhalation. This is called the mind riding the breath. The mind will probably wander, and if it does, gently bring it back to the exhalation. Now focus any residual tension that you might have on that exhalation, allowing it to release. If the mind wanders, just come back to the exhalation. After a while, the mind starts to become quieter. And as you notice this, you may notice that you are surrounded by silence. There may be sounds, but they are coming and going from the silence. So take your mind off the breath now and just rest it on the silence. This is the essence of meditation. You are the knower of the silence and also the silence. Just continue to rest your awareness for a few moments on the silence. You might like to ask yourself the question, who am I? As we take a step back mentally into the silence, we realize that thoughts are not real. The mind makes everything up. And we can choose not to be with the thoughts in this moment or to add any frightening thoughts to the situation, but rather just watch. Just feel that you are letting everything go into the bubble of silence, the awareness that contains you and surrounds you. Just allowing the mind to become more and more quiet and peaceful. Become aware of the breath again. And again, just observe the silence after the exhalation. Observing how blissful it is when the mind becomes still and we can drop into that silence between the breathing, between the exhalation and the inhalation. Just that all-embracing, nurturing silence. And then start to become aware of the body. Being aware of the weight of the body, where you are touching your supports and where there are spaces. And then just beginning to make some gentle movements as feels right for you. So that might be starting with the fingers and the toes, might be taking some stretches, might be hugging the knees into the chest and rocking from side to side. And when you're ready, taking your time, just roll to one side and stay there for a moment or two. And of course, if you wish to remain resting, that's fine too. Taking as much time as you need. When you are ready, come up to sitting. We're just going to do a little bit of chanting to bring us back to the here and now. If you would like, chanting is always optional. So if you like, take one hand to the heart and the other on top. Drop your awareness to your heart, so staying out of the mind if we can. And we'll do this as call and response. So I will chant to you and then you chant back, but you actually chant to your heart. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Take an extra breath if you need. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And then let's palm our eyes. So we're going to do this to our third eye. So again, call and response. I'll chant and you chant back. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. When you're ready, drop your hands to your knees and with the eyes closed, if that's okay for you, just observe the silence created by the mantra of peace, Shanti. And just acknowledging how our difficulties melt when we are quiet. And before we close, I'd just like to share an anecdote with you because it's something that helps me, it's helped me tremendously over the years. So this is quite a personal thing, but I feel as this is about overcoming a setback, I feel I would like to share it with you. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I was married to somebody who had cancer. And every morning we used to kind of meet in the sitting room and we would talk about our symptoms. So I would say to him, how was your night last night? And he'd give me a long list. And then he'd ask how I was, and I'd give him a long list of my symptoms. And then one day I was listening to an interview with Eckhart Tolle and Oprah Winfrey, and somebody rang in and said, I have this terrible chronic illness and I find it so difficult. How do I manage? And Eckhart said something which stays with me to this day, which is that you don't express, but you don't repress. So if you have an illness or you have symptoms, by all means, you talk to your doctor or your nutritionist or your health worker about it, but don't keep talking about your symptoms because what we express starts to manifest because it actually builds kind of concrete structures and it's almost like we're manifesting it. I hope that doesn't sound too woo-woo to you. It certainly helped me. So it means that we don't deny when we're having difficult times, but we're not making a huge identity out of it. We're not talking too much about it. So as always, it's the middle path. That's been so helpful to me over the years. So I don't deny things are difficult, but I also don't make a huge deal of it because then that just seems to make everything much worse. So I hope that was helpful to you. It was to me at the time. And I hope the session was helpful to you and it's given you some ideas. And by all means, put in a chat box if you've got anything you want to share, which helps you. But I'd just like to say thank you all very much for being here. I'm not here next week. Amy is covering the class for me, but I will see you, I hope, in 2 weeks' time. So lots of love to you all. Take care, everybody. Namaste. And I will see you soon. Thank you all. Thank you.